Yes, you know what? I will note all these questions and I will ask them later on.
You're gonna have a Canadian flair for sure.
Alright. Sports. Talk. Line.
Do you guys even know where Vancouver Island is? It's not even close to Toronto. Okay, let's get things going.
Hello and welcome to the Unnamed Sports Show Point 5. I am your host, Joshua Griffith, here on the Sports Talk Line Network. We have another Canucks game tonight. Game 3 against the St. Louis Blues goes in just over an hour. So we're going to get you set up for that. Had a great conversation last night recorded with Joshua Ray of Avid Discussers podcast and a contributor for the Canuck Way. So I'm going to bring you that in a couple minutes. But just looks like game 3, it should be exciting. Right now, we heard Tyler Myers is out. We haven't heard what kind of lineup is going to be in his replacement. We don't know if Gaudette's going to be in. We don't know if Jake Virtanen's going to be out. We don't know what's going on with St. Louis, if Binnington's in or Binnington's out, if Jack Allen's going to start. Hearing some rumblings now that Tarasenko won't be available for the Blues tonight. So probably by the end of my chat with Joshua Ray, I should have some more information about that just to get you caught up right on the latest, right before puck drop. So thank you for joining me here again on the Unnamed Sports Show Point 5, where we just talk straight up. It's just Canucks. It's the Unnamed Sports Show, but it's 30 minutes Canucks, getting you ready for games, catching you up on the games, everything like that. So if Lee has that interview ready, we can get that going for you, and I hope you enjoy.
So I am with Joshua Ray of Avid Discussers and contributor for the Canuck Way here on the Unnamed Sports Show Point 5. Joshua, thank you for joining me. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Josh. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Big Canucks 2-0 series lead, which always, you got to get excited about. And we got back-to-back games, as we were kind of just chatting about before in the green room. So excited about that. Before we get into sports and everything, I just want to make sure you and your family are doing safe and healthy during these times.
Yeah, we're getting by. My parents, they're doing well. Both essential workers. My mom works on the front lines, and I'm grateful for her. Long hours, especially during these hard times, but we're getting by.
Well, bless them and thank you for all the work that they do for everyone. So, so before we get into the Canucks game 3 that will go in a couple hours or about an hour and a half when you're going to be watching this, I want to get into the last game, the Canucks 4-3 overtime victory against the Blues. So, Joshua, what stood out for you in that one?
A lot of things stood out for me. The obvious one is Bo Horvat.
Yeah.
That first period goal was a thing of beauty. You got everyone talking about it, not even just Canucks Twitter, like hockey Twitter in general. You got other sports writers like retweeting the highlight. The overtime winner also was a thing of beauty. And the power play too. It just did everything it was supposed to do. It clicked. They were moving the puck well. They were getting traffic in front of the net. They were capitalizing on their chances, which is the most important thing. Yeah, and the penalty kill. It gave up one power play goal, which shouldn't have happened. I'll get into my next point. But mainly because of Jacob Markstrom, but not only because of him, but the penalty killers did a good job of stopping a very dangerous St. Louis power play. They were blocking shots, stealing the puck away in the corners and around the crease, and clearing it just effortlessly. And the last thing is the officiating from Game 2. It was not good. Like, you got...
Oh, you're being kind. You're being very kind. Not good?
Not good is a harsh term. shout out to one of my favorite YouTubers, Anthony Fantano, who reviews music. Not good is his version of like a negative 0 out of 10 or something like that on an album. So not good, like not good. Kaboom. That's I wish you had the effect for that, but whatever. It's
Lee, make sure you cue that up when you edit this.
yeah. It's yeah. Anyway, the refereeing was not good. You got the cross check on Sutter, which for some strange reason was not called. Well, there was a scrum after, and I believe it was Jay Beagle who was the only one sent to the box, and the Blues got off scot-free, and O'Reilly scored on the power play. There was a high stick on Edler. I think there might have been more than one, like late in the game before they tied it, and of course the Shen hit on Tyler Myers. That probably should have been penalized as well.
See, now that I'll agree with you on most of them except the Shen hit. I didn't think the Shen hit was so bad. I thought it was kind of an awkward way that he was going down. I didn't think it was numbers like the Sutter hit, but that Sutter hit by Sammy Blaze was that was blatantly a penalty, and and then he just gets the 2 for roughing. Yeah, no, that's. I'm with you on that on the officiating. So, but I don't want to get caught up too much into the officiating because, I mean, fans can do it for every team. We can do it for every game, depending on what angle you want to look at. I want to talk about the Canucks lotto line and just how they're being dominated right now by the St. Louis Blues Ryan O'Reilly line. Now, obviously, it's not causing us, any disdain because we're up 2-0 in the series, but it's pretty extreme how they're just dominating one of the best lines in the NHL for most of the year.
Yeah, it is pretty extreme. Well, we're not really giving them much criticism because they're doing everything right. But not on 5-on-5. They're doing all the scoring on the power play.
Mhm.
But at 5-on-5, you don't even need analytics to show you this. It was mainly because of Ryan O'Reilly, probably last year's Conn Smythe Trophy winner, probably the best defensive center in the league right now, and he's showing us why he won the Conn Smythe last year. He and his line are all over the lotto line, and I'm sure that was the Blues' plan going into the series. That if they wanted to be successful, they got to stop Miller, Pettersson, and Besser. Well, they're doing it, but just not on the power play. So until they find a way to unlock Ryan O'Reilly and his line, the lotto line has been shut down by Ryan O'Reilly and his line.
Yeah, it's been very interesting to see because I, for one, didn't think that special teams were going to be such a factor in the series, and I didn't think it was going to make such a difference, actually, after watching the Wild series. But definitely for the through the first 2 games of this St. Louis Blues Canucks series, we're seeing that teams that want to take a power play, and it even works in the St. Louis Blues, in for them as well. But staying out of the box is definitely going to be key for the rest of this series.
Definitely for both teams, actually. Yeah, because St. Louis, once their power play gets going, it's going to get going. And we all know that the Canucks power play has been all over the Blues, and they're going to want to stay out of the box in Game 3 because if they let the Canucks power play continue to click, they're probably going to lose the game and go into a 3-0 stranglehold.
So I want to get into more just about the third and fourth line. Jay Beagle, Tyler Mott, Zach McEwen at times, and Brandon Sutter, and Jake Vertan and Antoine Roussel. They're definitely outplaying the bottom 6 for St. Louis, which I don't think anybody would have thought. What do you like of those bottom 6 players, and what do you think could make a difference in the third game of the series?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the bottom 6 and Tyler Mott because that's my next article for the Canuck Way. And I'm going to say Tyler Mott first because he's a very good fourth liner. He does. He's very good defensively. He can score at times. Hasn't happened yet. he drives the play pretty good on the offense as well. Mostly, yeah, at 5-on-5, and on the penalty kill, he's a big reason why the Blues haven't been that successful. So Tyler Mott's gonna be an X factor heading into Game 3, and my other one will be Zach McEwen because he's been pretty good on the bottom six throughout the postseason. He had that fight in Game 2, but there's more than that. He's been throwing hits. He's been ticking Blues players off with his off whistle antics, and he's been trying to get into the offense as well. Hasn't happened yet, but if it does happen, um, it'll be huge.
So, you mentioned Tyler Mott, and he's really been skating well, and we've been seeing it on his forward check. He had the chance in game 2 on the Tyler Myers pass that he probably should have capitalized. Like you said, he probably should have some goals in this series. But it's nice to see him skating that well, just from the fourth line. But one thing I want to ask you about is just Travis Green sheltering, the third and fourth line when it comes down to the end of the game, even though they have been playing very well.
Yeah, they've been playing well, and well, it's up to Green and what he wants to do. But third and fourth line, like towards the end of Game 2, things were starting to get a little worrisome because the Blues were trying to tie the game up, which they did. But I don't think the third or fourth line was out there. And well, the bottom six, it's their role to shut down, and the Canucks were trying to shut down the Blues in the third period. But I would much rather have the top six do the shutting down. Like if they're up one goal with like a minute left to go and there's an empty net. Not only because there's the whole Louis Eriksson scores on empty nets meme on Canucks Twitter. That's one reason.
I'm not gonna lie. I was waiting for it last game. I had it all right.
It's bound to happen eventually. But anyway, Eriksson, despite his massive contract and how much we call him out for being useless offensively, he's not a bad player defensively. Analytics show that. The eye test show that. Horvat and Pearson are also pretty good defensively. And one thing that isn't talked about a lot is Elias Pettersson. He can play well defensively as well. He knows how to pickpocket opponents, steal the puck when the opposing team is in the offensive zone, close to the net, and he knows how to break the puck out of the defensive zone. That's one thing that's not really talked about as often. And wins above for replacement, as is my co-host Ty's favorite stat, show that Pettersson is like one of the best players in the league offensively and defensively.
See, now, because I know that your co-host Ty is on vacation, see, I didn't think that I was going to get thrown these stats, so I wasn't all expecting them. I was like, I'm going to have Josh on, and he's going to be good. We're going to talk things, but now you're getting to those stats too. But
oh yeah, I'm using them in my articles too.
Oh, love it. So make sure you check them out on the Canucks Way. So I'm chatting here with Josh Ray of Avid Discussers podcast here on the Unnamed Sports Show Point 5. Josh, let's get into Game 3. Obviously, the Blues, they're going to be looking to make some more changes than they did just from the 2 last game. We might hear a goalie change in Game 3 with Jake Allen starting over Jordan Binnington. How do you think Game 3 is going to turn out?
The Blues, I said this before Game 2, but the Blues are not gonna go down quietly. They do not want to go down 3-0, and they're gonna make changes, whether that's on the forward line, the defensive core, or even goaltending. I went around Blues Twitter after the game last night, 2 nights ago, when this is out, and they got fans saying, bench Binnington and start Jake Allen. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that because Binnington has given up 9 goals in 2 games, and those goals are not good. Like blocker side, 5-hole, short side, top. Those are, most of them were goals he should have stopped. But as a Canucks fan, it's fortunate that he didn't stop them. And the Blues showed their relentless forecheck in Game 2, and they're going to show it again. They didn't really score, but they're poised to this time. And you got to watch out for Vladimir Tarasenko. He's been quiet first 2 games. The Canucks have been doing a good job in shutting him down. But once that man gets going, once you let him score a goal, he won't stop. And if you let Tarasenko get on the board, the Canucks are going to be having some problems.
Yeah, Tarasenko has been somebody that's been very quiet for the Blues, and I don't think that they really want to wake him up. They let Ryan O'Reilly get off the snide last game with that late power play goal there in the second, and those aren't players that you want to wake up. And the Canucks might only be up 2-0 in the. Hold on, sorry, 1 second here. Shouldn't be having some. Yeah. 1 second. I'm just going to get Ray back to you, Josh.
This be edited out?
Yeah, well, this will be edited out.
Perfect.
Because I guess my roommate forgot to shut his door.
First, I thought it was people outside because I was recording today and got people outside yelling.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. I got people when I was recording the podcast today. Got people outside making noise. Now it's frustrating.
Always happens. He's like, I go in there. And he's like, "Oh, is that too loud?" Yeah, man. He's playing Warzone.
Oh, that explains it. I get noisy when playing video games too.
Yeah, it happens. So, okay, we'll get right back into things, and my editor can figure out where he wants to cut it and all that jazz.
Could you have an editor? I edit my own stuff.
Yeah, I can't. If I had to do that stuff, I would just go crazy. I'm gonna spend enough time trying to find my guests and doing the shows and all that stuff. So I'm thankful that I have someone else on that end. Okay. So sorry about that. I'm talking with Joshua Ray of Avid Discussers podcast. So thank you again for joining me, Josh.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So what we were talking about, we're kind of talking about the, Jordan Binnington and, the lineup changes the Blues might make going forward in Game 3, and if that was something they were going to be, and you gave your answer about that, and it, how about you were, in case people missed it, about you were looking on.
Yeah, in case anyone missed it, the Blues, if they make lineup changes, it's pretty much understandable because it has to come. They do not want to go down 3-0, whether it's the forward core or the defensive core or even in goal. Went around Blues Twitter after Game 2, and you got a lot of fans yelling for bench Jordan Binnington, start Jake Allen. Would not be surprised if they do that because Binnington has given up questionable goals in the first 2 games. It's like 9 goals in 2 games, and many of them were not pretty. Like blocker side, 5-hole, top shelf goals he should have stopped. But as a Canucks fan, it's pretty fortunate he did not stop those.
Yes, like you said, as a Canucks fan, we will take those bad Jordan Binnington goals. So I, for one, hope that he stays in goal. But if he doesn't, with Jake Allen, the Canucks had a pretty good run against him at the, in the season. So I wouldn't be all opposed to that option either. Let's get into the Canucks side of things, and I just want to get your thoughts on the Tyler Myers injury. And because obviously, we're not going to hear anything besides unfit to play until game time tomorrow, which should probably be in about 30, 45 minutes from now, when they drop the lineups. But what do you think the Canucks are going to do if Tyler Myers is unavailable?
That's a good question. We're not sure I'm actually not really too sure. First of all, I hope Tyler Myers is all right, and hope he comes back sooner, because as much as we harp on him, he is a big part of the Canucks defense, especially the bottom pair. And the way he went down did not look good. So what do you do with Tyler Myers out? Do you move Fantenberg to the right? Does Jordy Ben come back? But they were not even sure what's the deal with him in his quarantine and all that. So we're not sure if
Jordy Ben should be good to go. Jordy Ben.
He should be good to go.
Yeah, he
It would
skated
be ideal.
on Wednesday, so he should be able to slot into the lineup if Myers isn't available to go.
It would be ideal to put him on the right side because when he was with the Habs, that's where he was his strongest, and he did not play on the right side with the Canucks all season, and he struggled on the left. So that would be an ideal. But would you also consider putting Ole Levy back in the lineup? But I don't think it's a good idea to put him on the right side. So it should be interesting. I would go with Jordy Ben since he's good to go on the right side because that's his strong suit.
It's going to be like really interesting for me because Quinn Hughes last game, he only had 13 minutes and 37 seconds of ice time, which is way off his average in the other 5 games against the Minnesota Wild and the one against St. Louis. So, I'm curious to see if Travis Green doesn't have the availability of Tyler Myers, if he, kind of puts Tanev more on a defensive pairing with Edler and is, kind of hesitant to give more minutes to Hughes with that other defensive partner.
Yeah, it's surprising he only had 13 minutes of ice time, but he made the most of it.
Yeah.
Got the assist on the OT winner. And would be interesting to see, do you put Hughes and Tanev together? Do you, as you mentioned, Edler and Tanev for more defensive side of things? Or Canucks Twitter wants this. Hughes and Stetcher, the short kings together.
I would love it. I
do that, honestly, together. And put Fantenberg and Ben on the bottom pair. So those would be my ideal defensive lines for tomorrow. But we'll see what Travis Green pulls up his sleeve tomorrow. And, well, today if you're watching or listening to this. So it should be interesting.
I love that. I love that you mentioned Stetcher and Hughes together because that would be a very, puck wielding defensive pairing.
Yeah. Great puck moving pairing. Both solid defensively as well. Let's not forget that.
Well, Stetcher at times,
but Hughes, we all know what he can do on both ends of the ice.
And he seems to make players better when they play with him. I mean, he made Tanev a better player throughout the season with him on it. And I mean, he made
Myers a better player.
And he made Myers a better player. This is a lot of lineup things, and it sucks because we don't get any pregame skates. We don't get any of that stuff, any news.
Yeah, we don't. We don't get like people at the practices. We don't get Drancer or Batch in the practice arenas, but we don't know till game time, and that causes problems because remember in game 1, Friedman tweeted out that Miller was not playing, but he made a mistake.
Yeah, that was a quite a Canucks debacle. I mean, that was like one of the minor ones that we've had in a while, but yeah, that was funny to see, and I love that in game 2, all of the reporters were very quick to point out that JT Miller was in the pregame skate.
No shade on Elliot Friedman. Maybe keep the beard for a few months though, because I've heard he wants to get rid of it.
What? No, you can't get rid of the beard.
You can't get rid of it.
No, Elliot Friedman can't get rid of it. I would love to. When the story finally does come out about JT Miller, whatever happened, because I know it's going to be a funny one. I mean, if you've played sports, there's been moments where I'm not going to lie, I've been running onto the field at half, trying to do it with my pants. So,
you never know. There's people on Twitter saying he had a Luongo-like moment where he tried to go to the bathroom.
That's what I was hearing too. But it would be when the story finally does come out, it would be hilarious to hear it. So, speaking of JT Miller and the forwards, we probably won't have very many changes in there unless Tyler Toffoli is healthy to go. If Tyler Toffoli is healthy for tonight's game, Do you think that Travis Green would make a change? And if so, who would he kind of swap out from?
I believe he should make a change if Toffoli is healthy, and it would be nice if he is. But who's coming out? Not Zach McEwen, not Louis Eriksson. This is not going to go well with everybody, but Jake Virtanen should come out. I love the guy, hometown boy. I loved him loved the pick when he was drafted, but he hasn't lived up to expectations in the postseason. I've mentioned many times on my podcast that he has the tendency to disappear offensively, and he has. And he's been prone to many mistakes defensively, and like, for example, last game took a really bad penalty. And since he's not performing, you might as well take him out of the lineup to teach him a lesson and put Toffoli back with Horvat and Pearson. You got 2/3 of the 70s line back together.
And that's, of course, assuming he is healthy.
Assuming he is healthy.
Yeah.
And
sorry, go ahead.
And keep the Lotto line together. Well, even though they haven't been as good as 5-on-5, but on the power play, they're still the Lotto line.
And Travis Green is going to be able to line match if he wants and try and get him away from Ryan O'Reilly's line and maybe up against, the Bozak,
like the Bozak
Tarasenko line if he wants to, or even if depending on the line matchups, if there's an icing or a bad thing, he might be able to get him up against the Blues' third or fourth line. So, you kind of talked about Jake Virtanen, and you mentioned, he's kind of been invisible on the offense, but what chance really has he had on the offense? I mean, he's had really limited time on the second unit of the power play. He's had limited ice time just regularly. He got moved down to the fourth line for some points of the second game.
That's true.
But in his small flashes of getting ice time, he is almost kind of being noticed, and it is, for a good way. You mentioned his penalty, and he said he took a bad penalty, but we mentioned earlier that the refs were calling some pretty terrible penalties, and I would kind of lump that one in with it. A veteran taking advantage of a young guy, and he turns and swats a stick, and because the stick's a composite, it breaks right at the spot.
Well, that call was one of the ones they actually got right.
I mean, it is a rule. Yes, they got it right. He broke his stick on him on a slash, so yes, it's a penalty. But I don't know. I didn't like that penalty call. I thought Jake looked pretty good in his limited and sheltered minutes of ice time. He set up the nice chance there at the end of the period. That probably should have been, it was a great defensive play by the Blues. I forget who it was. I think it was Pietrangelo. But, he did look good in his limited time.
He showed flashes, but it wasn't enough, in my opinion. I know he has limited ice time because he's on the bottom six now, but he's got to make the most out of the ice time if he wants to be a playoff contributor, because Jake Virtanen, I expect, since Michael Ferland's pretty much done, I expected him to take his role because Virtanen is a type of player you want in the playoffs. And another reason I don't want Louis Eriksson to be scratched is, I'm not sure if you've noticed this, is the Canucks haven't lost a game since he was put back in the lineup.
No, I'm a big Louis Eriksson fan, so I have noticed that Louis Eriksson, and he's he does the things that Louis Eriksson does. I love. It's God. He's got to score on some of those those chances that he's getting when he does get them, but he's not there for the offense, and he looks to be just whatever it needs to get the breakout to Pearson and Horvat. He looks to just be able to just do that. Facilitate that one extra pass from out of the defensive zone to those guys that can actually score on that line. So, I wouldn't take him out either. I mean, realistically, I don't see any line changes if, on the forward end and on the defensive end. Tyler Myers a necessity, and you got to think that Jordy Benn's going to slot in there.
Yeah, you gotta. Well, we're still unsure if Toffoli is gonna go anyway.
We're unsure of Toffoli. We're unsure of Myers.
If Toffoli doesn't go, then I don't expect Green to make much changes with the lineup.
Yeah,
on the forwards.
Yeah. So, let's get into things. We have a little bit of technical difficulties because we're filming this late at night, and I'm doing it from my house, and I happen to have roommates, so I can't keep them that quiet forever. But
Yeah,
before
I can
we
hear my family in the background.
yeah, exactly. So things happen. But before we wrap things up, I want to get your prediction for tomorrow's game. And you don't
Oh
have to. You
boy,
don't have to give it if you don't want. You don't have to give it.
I'll do it.
I will
It's
also. I will also give up a prediction as well.
it's likely going to be wrong anyway, but what the hell? I'll do it.
That's what's so much fun
Let's-
about giving a predictions, though.
Let's say the Canucks do win this game. 3-2 in regulation.
3-2 in regular.
Actually, no, 4-2 in regulation. Louis Eriksson empty netter.
I love it. I love the Louis X. Okay, I'm gonna go just 2-0 for the Canucks. I'm also gonna say a win. I'm gonna say just Markstrom just shuts the door because he doesn't want to play on Monday night, and I think that if he gives the Canucks a 3-0 series lead, then he'll probably get the night off on Monday. So I think he just has a stellar performance, and yeah, I also like the Louis Eriksson empty net goal because it's going to come sometime. The net cannot be
It has to
empty
come.
for that long without Louis Eriksson putting the puck into it.
I agree, and I agree on the Markstrom thing too. He's been solid throughout the postseason, and if he continues his brilliance, the Canucks should be in good hands.
Minus that one game in Game 4, but again, that's why
Yeah, minus that one.
That's why I'm calling he doesn't want to do the back-to-back, so he just puts a showstopper out.
And that's saving overtime too. Like we're just that was like a soccer style save. He just dived and saved it with his arm.
No, Petty got it
Oh yeah.
with a double pad stacker. Is that
Oh,
the one
yeah,
you're
that's
thinking of
right.
when he dived across? Yeah, no, yeah, he didn't even get
Yeah,
to him.
that's right. I forgot. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
Petty got it with the Kirk McLean-esque
Kirk McLean.
save. So it was it was beautiful.
Yeah,
So
well, Markstrom was trying to do a soccer save.
yeah, no, he would have died. It was going to be a Thomas Hasal like save.
Yeah, better than Keppa.
Oh God, it's it. What was it? What did I see? Which I loved. 8 to be a Barcelona
Yes,
fan.
we're
Right?
big soccer fans too.
8 to be a Barcelona fan. Right?
Barcelona fan.
So Josh, before I let you go, let us know what's coming out on the Avid Discussers podcast, because obviously one came out yesterday. You got some great stuff coming out for the Canucks way, like you were just talking about. So let us know what we can look forward to and where everyone can find you.
Oh yeah, if you missed it, and I recommend you do listen to this episode because I think this was my favorite episode so far, despite Ty being on vacation and leaving me. Episode 13 is out on all platforms. I got Clay Emo on as a guest.
Oh,
Great
beautiful.
guy. If you're not following on Twitter, go follow him right now. He had a really fun interview. Another episode coming out. If the Canucks manage to win the series, we're going to do like an emergency the day after celebratory episode. I'll get tied on that. And we're going to have, we're not sure who will be the guest next week, but another episode will be there. Writing an article for the Canuck Way on Tyler Mott using eye test and analytics, courtesy of Ty, because he knows where to get them. I don't. And hope to put out some more content this week and pretty much going forward. Maybe I'll do the mailbag. Maybe I'll do post game. You'll see. You can follow me on Twitter at JoshuaRay91, and that's the same handle on Instagram as well.
Awesome.
If you want to see more of my crappy takes.
So make sure to give Joshua a follow and check him out on the Canucks Way, and check out Avid Discussers podcast because they have some great guests on there. And obviously Clay Emo, if anybody knows, president of the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club. And that guy is just absolutely everywhere right now. So I almost feel bad for his family. Well, no, I probably don't, because he seems to annoy them when he pulls them into his videos sometimes. So maybe they're getting a bit of a break from him. So make sure to check out everything that Josh is doing right now, and give him a follow on Twitter. So Thank you very much, Josh, for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. It was fun. It was a fun chat, and let's hope the Canucks do well.
Yes, let's hope we're talking about a 3-0 series lead.
Yeah, let's hope the celebratory episode with me and Ty would be a reality. Let's just hope.
Yeah, let's hope for that.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much
for.
All right. And welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Joshua Ray of Avid Discussers podcast and contributor for the Canucks Way. So we are getting very close to puck drop tonight. And we have some lineup notes for you. So Jake Allen is going to get the start in net for the St. Louis Blues. And it looks like Vladimir Tarasenko and Alexander Steen are not going to be in the lineup tonight. Just trying to find some Canucks lineup news, but I would imagine it's Jordy Ben, like I said, that's going to be into the lineup. So, want to thank you again for joining me, and sorry about that a little blip that I had with my roommate, but he is the voice that you hear right at the very beginning of the show that says Sports Talk Line, and so he actually has helped with some of the audio stuff for my show, so he has a bit of a leeway when it comes to playing video games at 10 o'clock at night when I'm trying to record something. So he knows my show times from 3 to 4 on Thursdays for the regular Unnamed Sports Show. He knows to be absolutely quiet, and everybody does. So still not seeing anything out of the Canucks side. That doesn't really surprise me. But just before I wrap things up, I want to give a big shout out to the Large House that made their Sportsnet 650 debut on Saturday morning from 9 to 12, and really enjoyed that with their guests. They had Tom Larshide on. So, and yeah, that was just great. So make sure to check them out, and congrats to them for getting picked up by Sportsnet 650. So, going to get ready for the Canucks game, as I'm sure everybody else is. So thank you again for joining me here on the Unnamed Sports Show .5, where we just talk Canucks for 30 minutes. And we're going to hopefully be doing it for a little while longer if the Canucks can get past the Blues and get 2 more victories. So make sure to watch the game tonight. Follow me on Twitter at Joshua Griffith0. Going to have lots of highlights out as they come right away. Probably faster than anyone else, hopefully. Probably not the best, as good as quality as everyone else. When sometimes my camera's a little bit tilted, but I screw up on that. But I'll fix that. And follow me on that, and I'll kind of keep you up with my thoughts on the game and how I think the Canucks are doing. And then also make sure to tune into Sports Talk Line's website, where I will have my post-game recap of the game and just some thoughts on what I think of Game 3 between the Vancouver Canucks and the St. Louis Blues. So, for the Sports Talk Line Network, where we talk sports 24/7, 365, I have been your host here on the Unnamed Sports Show. I am Joshua Griffith, and thank you very much for joining me. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter, all those social media things. So, again, thank you for joining me, and enjoy the Canucks game. And as always, love Canucks hockey and sports, all sports.